We are here in front of Martha's cabin at the clearing looking at Virginia bluebells. Not quite open yet, still pretty. They're kind of pinkish red when they're in tight bud. They'll open to a beautiful light blue, kind of a bell-shaped flower in these clusters. Bumblebees and butterflies especially love them and are pollinators. Not native at the clearing, and probably not even in Door County. It's a native Wisconsin wildflower. It does get into Brown County and Kewaunee County, so maybe southern Door County, but not here. But there's a nice patch of it in front of Martha's cabin. I like to think of Martha planting these. These nice light green leaves. This is a true spring ephemeral. After it's done doing its business and making seed, these leaves die back to the ground by midsummer, so it doesn't stay green all season long. It is a wonderful garden plant, but you have to put it with things that will cover the bare spots after these die back. So this is Virginia bluebells. This delicate little creature, also right in front of Martha's cabin, is Dutchman's Breeches. We only have a few of them here. They're called Dutchman's Breeches because the flowers look like pantaloons or breeches hanging from the clothesline. Really cute little flower on these long stems. Great foliage too, almost fern-like. It's also called stagger wood because if livestock eats the foliage, there's an opiate in the plant, and they'll stagger around like they're drunk. But we call it Dutchman's Breeches. There's another native one not here called squirrel corn, which is very much like this. And this is in the same genus, a close cousin to a favorite garden plant called bleeding heart. But this is our native Dutchman's Breeches. Now we're in front of the lodge looking at Canada wild ginger. Wonderful little patch in our kitchen garden, and it has these beautiful kind of heart-shaped, large, velvety leaves that last all season long. It makes a great ground cover plant. But in spring, we get the flowers right at ground level. These kind of brownish red flowers with reflex petals. And different insects, ants and flies, early spring flying flies and gnats will crawl in there and pollinate. It's not a true ginger, it's called wild ginger, all one word. Early settlers would use the roots as a ginger substitute. But it is a really nice garden plant, great native ground cover, Canada wild ginger. Well, here we have wild leek, also called ramp, R-A-M-P, plant in the onion family, which is in the genus that onions are in, alliums, and it's in the lily family. These long, narrow, kind of lance-shaped leaves with parallel veins. If you could smell this, you'd smell onions. And if we were to dig one up, you'd see a little bulb on there, and both foliage and the bulb edible and are collected by foragers for making leek soup and other culinary delights. It often grows, this is a small patch here, but it'll often grow in huge patches. It's a true spring ephemeral. This foliage will die back by early summer, and then a naked flower stem appears with an umbel or a round, it's called an umbel, of white flowers in later summer without any foliage. So some people refer to plants that do that as naked ladies, believe it or not, because they come up naked of leaves. So it's unusual that foliage now dies back by early summer, then the flower buds come up later. Wild leek or ramp. Here's a nice little patch of Trout Lily, or it's also called dogtooth violet. Most of us call it Trout Lily, named so because the leaf looks like a trout, coloring of a trout. Another true ephemeral. Once this is done making seed, it all dies back to the ground. By midsummer, you don't see anything. So it's a spring. Ephemeral means fleeting, or here only for a little while. So this is a true spring ephemeral, like the Virginia bluebells, but really pretty flower. Another plant in the lily family. Doesn't get more than a few inches tall. Beautiful foliage, beautiful flower, but very fleeting. Only kind of spring and early summer. Trout lily. Our last one for the day is sharp-lobed Hepatica, kind of at the tail end of its bloom season. Some of these flowers are done already, but there are still some left, and they can be white or pink or light blue. And here's the new foliage. It's an evergreen. It retains its foliage over winter. Here's an old one that dies back in the spring as it flowers and produces new growth. It's at the clearing the first thing to bloom every year. Sharp-lobed Hepatica. It's actually an anemone, and anemones are often called wind flowers because the flowers are on long, wispy stems and blow easily in the wind. So wind flower, or sharp-lobed Hepatica, with its new 3-lobed leaves.